was. It was full of stars, and it was literally a break. They're back in Detroit tonight to play the beleaguered Detroit Pistons. At 7 o'clock, Pistons have won 13 games this season. They're having a tough time. But they beat the Cavs last time. Let's see if they do it again tonight. 7 o'clock is the tip-off here on MMS. 6:30 is when that pre-game coverage begins. Few days remaining, by the way, for you to use the promo code over at CLE Clothing Company. It's a short month, of course, as I understand it, the shortest month. But you can still use the promo code HEART, H-E-A-R-T. By the way, the Wilson sisters, for people asking, still in the midst of a falling out. Ann and Nancy Wilson, of course, longtime sisters, founders of the band Heart. Ann Wilson announces she's going out without her sister. So Ann Wilson, and she, I don't even know how much of the singing she's going to be doing. Nancy's the guitar player, Ann's the singer. She's the DJ, he's the rapper. But she's got some American Idol singer going out with her, so I don't know how that's going to play. But if you're a Heart fan, look for that. And the word Heart, 20% off at CLE Clothing Company. Now, do they have any Ann and Nancy Wilson inspired shirts? I don't know. But that would be the only kind of shirt that they don't have down there. They have all kinds of Buzzard merch. They have not a few items with the word Cleveland on them. So if you're a booster, CLEclothingco.com. Cavs Pistons tonight, 7 o'clock on WMMS. You thought gas was expensive now.
Oh, boy.
Oh, doggy, just wait. Now that Russia has invaded the Ukraine, the oil prices are going through the roof, Bitcoin going through the basement, and the stocks doing whatever they want to do. You've probably seen no shortage of video on Twitter and
So
people looking outside their windows and seeing planes and it was a strange juxtaposition, too, because they would do these sweeps, people who are with news organizations from around the world and just civilians who were showing video outside their houses. It was a weird juxtaposition between seeing a country being invaded and then they would, ground level, still city buses driving. Imagine you're a bus driver in Kiev, right? You're still making all the stops.
Yeah.
And there's other people going to work and whatever.
Here we have rubble. I mean, at what point do you... I mean, if you declare a state of emergency, no one's going to go to work.
Well,
right?
I think it might be a little bit beyond that. But, you're going to be paying a lot more for gas, And I think Biden has said as much. He's told people there's going to be some sacrifices having to be made in this country. And you know how much people in this country love sacrifice. But listen. Well, and also,
it's all Biden's fault.
Russia is trying to take control of Chernobyl right now.
They just did. Or at least they got the nuclear power plant.
But what's still there? That's not even an operational plant, is it?
Their tourism economy.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
So get all that Poundcake,
who wanted to famously tour Chernobyl, I can't imagine Russia was invading tourist sites. There has to be some tactical reason that they want Chernobyl.
I'm still going to go.
It's not like they're trying to take over the local chamber of commerce over there. Are you still going to go, even though it's
a bunch of white boys in Russia? I'm still going to go.
Yeah, that is an aggressively white country. Yeah.
Mayonnaise.
So we'll see what happens here, but obviously there's no shortage of coverage on it, and
why couldn't Biden just let them build his damn pipe? Just let him get his damn pipeline.
This has nothing to do with the pipeline. This is Putin overplaying his hand, by the way. If you watch or read people who know Russia inside and out, this is going to be the beginning of the end of what's going on over there.
He's been planning this for years. Same reason why he did. I think this was the start. The start of this war was when they did the cyber attack on all of our places of government. He wanted to do it way back then.
But you're talking about cyber attacks over here. I mean, he invaded Ukraine 2014, 2015. Remember when he took Crimea and everybody made a big deal about that and they kicked him out of the G7? And this is a much bigger deal than that.
He killed 40 people already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he didn't do anything. But
he ordered the strikes.
Yeah, of course. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. There'll be some kind of trickle down effect over here, but who knows what that
I think
consist of.
Putin is smarter than what we give him credit for, and this is. I don't think he's overplaying any.
I don't think
hand.
anybody ever accused him of being stupid. He just pretended to be a man of the people for decades, even though.
But that was
he
a
and
part
all
of
his friends are trying to make sure that they just keep their yachts. But I think this is not going to end well for him.
I think it will.
You think this will end well for him? An unprovoked invasion of the largest country in Europe. This could be the biggest land war since World War II. You think this will end well for? You got to remember.
I don't think he would do anything that he didn't think he could win, and I think he has been trying to destabilize forever.
That's the hubris. Is you think you? Of course he has.
I'm talking about destabilize us, and this has been his plan all along because half the country's not going to want to go to war. Okay,
we're talking about Ukraine.
I am talking about Ukraine as well, but who's going to save Ukraine?
Russia has no economy to speak of. Russia is basically a gas station with an army. So with all these countries imposing sanctions on Russia, that's not going to be good for Putin.
Okay.
It's not going to be good for Russians.
That's what I wanted to ask, because I was reading, excuse me, I was reading about this morning because I was like basically just Googled what's going on and trying to figure out any of it, And so it's like saying that other countries and members of NATO are doing sanctions against Russia. Does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean like we're withholding things from them?
It means that you can freeze assets. It means that you can close bank accounts. It means that you can suspend trade.
So
all these resources.
All these things you can you'll suspend whatever aid packages you might have. I mean, and for a country that has a weak economy like Russia does, it's not good news.
Huge oversimplification, but this is where my mind went, and tell me if I'm way far off. Is that the equivalent of like threatening your kid to take away their toys, where it's like, hey, if you don't stop doing this, we're going to take all this stuff from you?
Take away food, not toys.
I know, but I'm saying, is that basically what's happening with sanctions? Like, hey, Russia, if you don't knock it off, we're going to take away A, B, C, and D.
Yeah, so those are the threats that are made against.
Things.
That's right.
Okay.
Those are the threats.
And it's a pretty standard way to keep from having to get into battle.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think the sanctions are going to work because he has been planning this forever.
But they
definitely has stuff saved up.
But they definitely no. We're not worried about him. He's the richest man in the world. I mean, he's going to be fine. His friend monetarily, but it's sanctions against the country. That's not going to put you in good standing because there are, irrespective of what we think, there are a lot of people in Russia who think Putin's a great guy. Right? This is not going to help you with them. And so he's united NATO, right? He's been trying to split up NATO for a long, long time, but what he basically managed to do here is unite it. You got to remember the president of Ukraine, who got very famous when Trump wanted him to do a favor. This guy was like the Jon Stewart of Ukraine. He was a comedian who they elected to be the president. And so nobody was really taking this guy seriously for a while. This is going to change that. This guy's giving speeches. He's getting people from every country around the world to support. You can't. I don't know, man. This is not going to end well for Putin or Russia. Okay. He's not going to go down easy. And so he's going to take as many of his pals with him as he possibly can. And they're all crazy rich guys who just want to keep their money. So, and again, this is a completely needless thing to do.
That
to
was
try
my
to
next
grab
question.
Ukraine. They're completely.
Why is he invading?
Because he wants to.
I was reading on Wall Street Journal was one of the articles I read this morning, and it was saying basically that he's talked bad about Ukraine, where it's like they don't deserve to be their own country. It should have never happened in the first place. They should have never left the Soviet Union, yada yada yada. And when they what's the word I'm looking for? When they broke off some of those territories,
yeah.
And then so basically he's not been a fan of that since day one. So he's just like, well, screw it, I'll just take it back then.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
But for what? Why? Carnage and war and lives lost because
that's what
you feel like it?
But a lot of people figured that he would come to that conclusion before now and back off, but he did not. And so now you've got, I mean, if you watch Fox News, they think Putin is the greatest guy on the planet. This is bad for MAGA world, too, because they've somehow sided with Russia over the United States. I don't know how you get there. You got all these guys. This would have never happened under Trump. Please. Trump was tonguing this guy's corn shoot from day one.
He still is.
He thinks he's a genius for doing this. So Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, on the ground here, you can be paying more for gas. And who knows what else.
Oh, man.
Mitt Romney about a decade ago, everybody was laughing at him. Obama was laughing at him because they said to Mitt Romney, who was running for president, what's the greatest threat we face worldwide? Mitt Romney said Russia. And everybody goes, Russia. What is this, the 80s? Because everybody was so hyper-focused on the Middle East, everybody laughed at Mitt Romney. And,
who's laughing now?
Who's laughing now? Yeah, that's right.
We're just getting a "told you so" tweet from Mitt.
So it's going to be, you're going to see that, I think in the near term, you're going to see things change at the tank. Hey, speaking of the tank, have you been reading about Hank the Tank? This grizzly bear who's I like the headline, grizzly bear on the run from the police. First of all, he doesn't know he's on the run.
On the run.
Yeah.
Grizzly bears are always on the run.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah. He doesn't know he's on the run. They just can't find him. The police are looking for him but there's this huge grizzly bear. They're called Hank the Tank, and he's on the run from the police.
we're going streaking.
In California, this is out Lake Tahoe on the California side. It weighs about 500 pounds, which is much more than your average bear. And they said that, a lot of these bears, because there are so many people around all the time, bears now, there is a constant food supply around animals. So they said that this bear appears to have skipped hibernation. He's out in the wintertime because these animals get so comfortable with humans and there's always food around. So they're like, this animal doesn't have to look for nuts and berries.
Swiping picnic baskets.
Well, he's like breaking into homes. A lot of wild bears, they got to eat ants or whatever. And he's like, this is Lake Tahoe. So you can break into somebody's house and there's pizza or ice cream or they're just picking through the trash or whatever.
What I want to know,
he's not going to pull grubs off of a dead log when there's a pint of fish food in the freezer.
How do they get him to stand on the scale?
To know he's 500 pounds. They eyeball it.
Yeah, I think they probably
got the
eyeball
best
it.
person from the fair. They got their most experienced carny to look at him and guess within 3 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, with all that fur, I think that makes it a little more difficult.
That's why he's so good.
Uh-huh.
How much weight do you think the fur adds? Do you think the fur itself is
wet?
heavy? Huh? Wet fur?
I mean,
it's a moist
10
fur.
pounds.
Yeah.
If you shave the bear, you think it has more than 10 pounds of fur?
I don't even think it has that. I have no idea.
I don't think so.
But I'm just saying. But the fur, it's like wearing like a big jacket.
Makes you look
makes
bigger,
you look
yeah.
bigger. Yeah, it's not a slimming look.
Yeah, so they're still looking for Hank the Tank, and they don't. By the way, Lake Tahoe, that made me think of this. Justin is one of our bureau chiefs in Lake Tahoe, but he's on the Nevada side. And, when Poundcake talks about going to the Bunny Ranch and losing his hetero virginity, the Bunny Ranch is in Carson City. That's about a half an hour from Lake Tahoe on the Nevada side. You could go to the Secret Cove nude beach out there. You could rock it at the Bunny Ranch, and then half an hour's drive, and you're right on Lake Tahoe, and they have a huge nude beach there. Right? That's something to consider. That's something else to put on your itinerary if you head out to the Bunny Ranch.
Yeah, I want a few days.
You could put the hoe in Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, I could.
Alan Cox Show After Hours line. Anytime you want to call there, you can. It's at your discretion. 216-986-8903.
Alan, Caleb, and Kent, listening on the podcast from Tuesday. You guys were talking about the family group chat messages, and listening to Mary talk about how active their family group chat is, it makes me absolutely infuriated. I keep mine muted, and anytime somebody asks me a question, I answer with okay, even though they're looking for specific information. I would rather drink the ladle of spit out of the drum at the dentist's office than have an active family group message. Love you, bye.
Wow. And with his parting words, he sends you off into a spasm of disgust.
Somebody hates their family.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. The people.
It doesn't even have to be hate. It just has to be, I don't want to be part of this. Right?
Why is it so bothersome that your family shares things with you? That's
Not
what
shares.
I don't understand.
Not shares. The way you describe it is you're constantly being lured into an argument you don't want to have.
No, that's in person. That's in person.
That's what he's talking about.
The way that I
But it
described
could
it.
just as easy, if people are going to do it in person, they can just as easily do it over
No,
text.
the way that I described it yesterday was that our family group chat is used I would say multiple times a week, and it's usually sharing accomplishments. Hey, the kids did this, or hey, my album came out. That's what our family group text is usually used for.
But if you said something in that group text that was even mildly inflammatory, you know your brothers would leap all over it.
Right.
Right.
But we just keep that out of there for the most part.
So
I mean, the last time we had one of those.
Why
was
is it so
when-
prevalent in person then?
I think because we're all there and it's easier. You don't have to text 10 texts in a row. You can just yell. You know what I mean?
You can just yell.
You can get it all out of your
I'm
chest.
not going to talk to text this because it's autocorrecting to things I don't want it to autocorrect to.
Right.
All right.
No, our family group chat is a pretty, 90% positive place.
I don't have a family group chat. I have a chat with my mom and dad, and then I have one with my siblings. We don't have a family group chat.
Well, the only difference is my dad died. I mean, so we made one with just our siblings. But that was, I guess, the family group chat I'm talking about, my siblings. My mom doesn't have a phone she can text from, so.
Oh, so it's not your mom in the...
No,
Oh,
it's
I
just
see.
my siblings.
How aggravating is that? She has to text.
Cody, you don't even understand.
T9. I'm talking about T9 though.
She
For
can't
her.
text. Her phone is like 10 cents a text, 10 to receive, 10 to send, 5 to receive, or whatever.
I thought you were saying she just had like an old phone and it would take
No.
her a long time.
Those phones still cost money to send texts?
Yes.
I thought carriers had gotten rid of all that.
Well, if
Should
you
have
go buy
grandfathered
an $8 burner phone at the gas station.
No, I
that's
understand.
the
I
plan.
thought that across the board it didn't... Okay.
It's not a carrier thing. It's a pay per
Oh, it's
minute.
she buys burner phones.
She buys
Yeah.
burner phones.
So you
yes.
can send a text, but it takes she has load. That's what
Yeah.
they had in the Philippines.
You have to
Like,
go
if you had
load text messages onto your phone.
You would load, you put a certain amount of money
And minutes.
and that's like
It's like the year
and, like,
2000.
And it was it'd take a certain amount of points away for text messages or phone calls. Yeah, it was ridiculous. And that was in 2003, 2004.
In an
And your mom's
impoverished
doing-
country.
Yes, and your mom's doing it now.
20 years later in America.
In an impoverished country.
You guys should just get her a phone and
She
not.
won't use it. She's told us, do not buy me a phone. I will not use it. She is straight, because every
Make
single
her.
one of my siblings
Steal her burner phone.
has said, we will buy you. She'll just go buy another one. It's like $20.
What, like at the end cap at Walmart? Is that where you
Or
go?
at, like,
Is she afraid
gas
that, like,
You
you
get
stations.
it at the dollar store.
Does it come down to the
Mobile?
fact that she just doesn't really know how to use it?
No, because she knows how to use it. She's one of the most computer savvy people I've ever met. When I was
Yeah, it's
dating,
not hard to figure out how to text. I mean,
When I was dating, she would ask me for the guy's first and last name and then give me a full background check on them of here's what they did here. This guy got arrested for this 10 years ago. He lives at this address. He has a woman's name on his lease.
so it's clearly just she doesn't want to pay for texts.
It's not about paying.
Oh.
She wants to be as off the grid as she can. She does not want people to be able to get a hold of her. She wants to be able to get a hold of people,
the only people
but not
trying
the same
to get a
way.
hold of her are her kids.
Not in her mind. There are other people that she
The
doesn't want
Carol,
to know.
who's
where she
after
is.
you?
The government?
I don't know what it is.
Government.
the grid.
When we were having the
Is
whole
your mom's name Carol?
yeah.
Why did I not think of Carol? I'm sure you've told me your mother's
said it
name.
yesterday.
I've
Yeah.
met the woman. I mean, okay.
When we were in Kentucky and this whole thing was going down, I got really frustrated. I was like, why can I not buy you a phone? And she said, because it's not safe. It's not safe for her to be trackable, traceable.
She has PTSD
From what?
from.
She's never been hunted.
Who does she think wants to track her?
She wouldn't answer any more
Did
questions.
she watch Surviving the Game with Ice-T and Gary Busey?
Maybe.
Well, that'll do it. Let me take a break here. I've got to track Mary's mom. And if
We
you
know where she is right now.
if you want to send a text, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com if you want to watch, and we'll be back after this.